Welcome to Nevermind the Furthermore. Wait a minute, this music isn't right, the scene isn't right. Hang on. That's more like it. And now it's time for the show for all creatives. Nevermind the Furthermore. Your source for conversation, inspiration, and fun. With your host, Nicholas Anthony Tockert. He's an artist, a writer, a swordsman, and a game designer. He knows how to use the sword and axe in historical battles without anybody getting hurt too much. He's also the Manatee Man, master of marketing. And he may even have a guest or two. One thing, though, to be certain. Just don't call him a cryptid. With that, it's about time for the show. So sit back, enjoy, and have some coffee and chat with us.
Good morning, Nevermorians! Happy Friday, happy fall break, happy end of the week, folks. We are barreling towards so much goodness, I can taste it. We're 10 days away from Halloween. We are up, we are at it. Life is groovy, friends, colleagues, and countrymen. But before we get going, let's pay some bills, so to speak. You guys know it, the simple sword, the fighting axe, both available on Amazon, along with the simple spear. One of these days, I'll get one of my copies in here to wave. Also, let's see, can I get this without making a huge stuff slide? 3, 2, 1. Hey, found my missing tablet. Grooviness confirmed. Sorry, I had an extra sword come at me. Yes, you need to organize your office. It's to do. What's this? The Big Stumpy Robots core rulebook. Yes, this is the second of the 3 planned expansions of the Big Stumpy Robots game. At each level, new things are found. The original quick play version is the quintessential get in, blow stuff up, have a good time, get out. But for people who want sweet, sweet lore, and more tactical options. Things like mobile heavy artillery. Ooh, let's get that lovely art in there. Can I? There we are. Ooh. Big stumpy robots. And tanks. Yes, let us give tanks. Because, folks, Thanksgiving is coming too, and that's another one of my favorite holidays. Yes. For that and more, and a game that canonically use your own minis, folks. Big Stumpy Robots, available through Amazon.com and at JB Tech Apps, the bit.ly address with which we shall not mess. Alrighty, now, we've knocked that down, reminding you that we are made possible by Joe Bachman's generous donation to let us have a year of fancy spanky StreamYard and folks, my amazing Patreon folks over at the Historical Fencing Guild /patreon.com or patreon.com /historical fencing guild. I'm dyslexic. You guys can figure it out. Now, I am very glad to see the chat as active as it is, because I had a challenging evening last night. One of those nights where planned things did not go right. And that happens, friends. That does happen. And my response after realizing things had gone boink, just boing, turned into, well, I am awake now. Chaos has ensued. Nothing bad. Everything's cleaned up and settled. But I guess we're going to watch movies. So I went looking for the movies I love when I think of Halloween, and I realized something, folks. With few exceptions, these scary / horror movies that come to mind for Halloween viewing, the ones I love, have much heavier sci-fi elements than people would think. You see, we talked about a lot about horror the last few weeks, and we're going to get into the comments because I don't want to get too far behind on you wonderful folks. But I love campy horror sci-fi movies. I adore them. Golden Turkey Awards, I am there for it. I have owned many copies of Plan 9 from Outer Space. And I own several copies of a couple of the classics. The Killer Shrews, the Giant Leech, Attack of the Giant Leeches. These are some of the movies that help make me me. Now, no small part of that was interwoven with my love for a certain hostess with the mostess, Elvira herself. But there are a couple people I feel the need to just, drop my hat if at all possible in their name. Elvira, Miss Dolly, there are a couple others that they're not springing to mind. But between her and Sven Gulia over out of Chicago, Rich Cause, a great program, had a horrible the cattle call of what it was like to go through to meet him, because he's the first celebrity to me that I went out and saw, and it was such an experience that I have since given up. I don't do that. Now it was neat. I have my glow in the dark Berwyn. It came from Berwyn t-shirt, but ooh, I gotta jump ahead. Because I saw something that just made my day. Good morning and happy Friday. Yay, y'all. Happy Friday, Cat. The Adventures of our Rock and Roll Art Goddess. And yes, I skipped a bunch of people. I will get you. But this is Cat, so give me a second. Hi, darling. I hope you are having a wonderful fall break, getting artsy and creative. I will be soon. I want to knock out, I have 3 books I want to knock out possibly by the end of the year. And I have a piece. I've been requested to do a piece for an art show at the end of the month, and I've been doing pre-work and working on it, and it just keeps crashing. But I'm so excited. So it's very rare that I've done art show type things, and I thought of you when I did. Now, mind you, it's at a tattoo parlor in Crown Point, but I'm still excited. So yes, Kat, put links, please, my darling. Another love of my life. Cat, it's not that way. Well, it is kind of. I love her. I haven't seen her in a while, and I want to make sure, because a lot of times she has to hop off. So, and she's not up all night being on other people's shows. So let's get into it. But yeah, Cat, please, my dear, send me links so I can promote things that will actually make you money. Because people know about your stuff. They want to buy your stickers. They want to buy Rock and Roll Art Goddess merch, but she didn't give me the links. So we'll go back, catch up to Kat. That way I don't get in too much flack from Carl. And Carl, if you knew Kat, you'd understand. Morning, folks. Good morning, Richie. You were up late. You and a whole bunch of my morning crew were up real late on Last Man Standing with my dear friend Dan Hollifield. And I got to see part of it. I couldn't watch him partake because I was in a late evening family time. But I did get to see just enough to realize the conversation was talking about a specific Christmas tree that wouldn't have been Xander appropriate for me to discuss. And if you don't know what it is, you need to go follow Dan Hollifield on YouTube and follow Last Man Standing. It's his evening show. I used to love to be up very late to do it. But between being the scuba squad and some of my meds, I don't do late nights anymore. And it is tragic. But my replacements, Joey and Richie, who I appreciate, have done a great job. Richie's watching the support show while waiting for the show to begin. That judge is savage, and I love it. Awesome. Good morning. Off to a late start thanks to Last Man Standing last night. Yeah, it looked like you guys were having fun. Trying to get myself writing again today. It could happen. It could. It could happen. Hey, guys. Hey, Donna. How you doing? I was really surprised that you were up as early as you were today. Me, I've been logged on to work for 2 hours, Richie. Yeah. Good morning, guys and gals. Good morning, Michaela Jade, bouncing into her life. I got no words down yesterday, but today is a new day. And we've got people greeting each other, people greeting each other, people greeting each other. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Blue Teddy. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I start my day job today. Ick, boo. We got to get you a better setup. Well, good luck with the new gig. Hey, Blue Teddy. Welcome back, Michaela, to the world of productive citizens. I hope you don't have to join. I don't have to join you in that soon. And howdy. Howdy, BTN. We only trust our news from the Blue Teddy Network. No kidding, Michaela. If prices keep going up, I'm not sure how I'll make it. Maybe okay. What needs to happen is I want to win a big lottery, one of those ugly money, like billion. Ugh. So I can just buy a town. I have a plan. I'm going to buy a town, and it doesn't matter where it is because it's going to be spanky by the time I'm done. It could be Earl Park. I could buy the whole town of Earl Park with that kind of money, and then go. All right, guys. I need authors, I need writers, I want a radio station. I know who's going to run at least the night programming. I'm going to get all you guys, and I'm going to be like, here. I've bought it. I've paid for it. Boom. Move on in. Just rock and roll, make stuff out. We'll make it work. I want to do that. And then we could all go, get buses and stuff to go to conventions and have our own conventions. It'll be great. And once again, seeing cat in my chat. Hey, the day is always better with the cat in the chat. With me in my hat. Anyway, only 9 or 10 more years on this mortgage. Yay! Hey, cat. Today is the 3rd birthday of Comic Related Madness Facebook group. We will be online on and off all day. Party time. Rock on. You know what, though? I say that, but Kat's pretty darn awesome, and she needs the support, folks. Pops, streaming at the Madness. Hey, Carl. Go, Nick. Art show at a tattoo parlor rocks. It's Gorgeous Ink in South Haven. No, Gorgeous Ink in Crown Point. It's owned, I believe, and run by my one of my former students. I substituted and I got to know pretty well. Great guy by the name of Sterling Freeman, and he wanted me to do a piece inspired by the Wu-Tang Clan. So I've been really working on that, and I have. I have a commercial coming on that isn't mine. No, Mike. No, I only run commercials that are my commercials. Go away. My phone just decided to be nutty. Sorry. I am working right now on a voice ad thingy. Yes, please. If you have a good voice, like our friend Skunk Rocker, get out there and do it. We have a comment dump. Let's knock that out. Oh, I'm not jealous. I treat Donna and Michaela the same way. Exactly. Hey, Pops. Hey, Goddess. Okay, everybody's greeting. We got more greetings. Bum, bum, ba-dum, bum. Going to start my day playing Mansions of Madness live. Comic Talks with Pop Van Zant at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Wonderful. If people need to hop off for that, I will not be upset. I have a very busy day. I get to do assorted medical procedures in the afternoon and some shopping before I can come back right to this lovely studio and do the Circle Fencing Guild's live stream, where we have to decide some things. And morning, Nick. Hope all is well. Glad you brought the cat back. It really is temperature dependent. My wife replaced the original hat, which is the hat that I wore everywhere throughout my from about 15 on, before I moved down here and it became too sunny for that style of hat. I also wore it out, so she got me a replacement. But this is actually like tweed, so it's a very, very warm hat, which tells you just how brisk it is in my study as I break out my lovely oatmeal shirt. But Rock and Roll Art Gustus, I'm a full-time, mostly miserable, full-time middle school art teacher by day, struggling to find the time and energy to art and write by night, weekend and break. Thanks for the love, Nick. No, two things. The system, and I am intimately acquainted with the system that you are involved in, both on the macro and local scale. They do not appreciate you. They don't treat you right. I can't remember the term they use for art now. It's like it's an extra. No, art saves lives. I'll be passionate about it. But you are a radiant being of light and joy. You bring energy, and you have helped your students in ways you'll never fully know. I've watched the light shine, and it bounces right back out of their eyes. It is a beautiful and wondrous thing. So we need to find a way to promote your art so that you can make, my goal is to have you make enough money that when you want to retire from teaching, you are in a place financially to do that, because you deserve a chance to bloom just for yourself. You know, you're one of those wonderful people who you've put in the hours, you've put in the time, you've put the money in the bank. It is time for you to be able to get it out. And we just need to find some way to help facilitate that. That's what I do, guys. I have two very, very small, very tiny little superpowers, be they magics. Occasionally, I know stuff before it happens, just a little tiny bit. I get nudges, and I can see the potential in people. That is a gift and a curse, being able to see what someone can be if they just take the time to invest it in themselves. As an instructor, most instructors have this in one form or another. And I say instructor because I never got formal teacher's license. I was a substitute teacher, but I've been an instructor in a lot of things. But when we're out there creating, and there is a pushback, and I think it's one of the most BS things between who we could be and who the world wants to put it speak. And the world will try to compress us into holes that we don't fit in to make things just look homogenous across the top. And that is not right nor just. And if there's one thing I can do, it's I can reach out and I can say, no, you are too big for the hole they are putting you in. And it will either break the hole or it will break you. So how do I toughen you? How do I expand your power? How do I help you level up in the light of both what I consider the Lord and the light in what you create? How can I move you up at all? All I want out of life is to be able to interlock my fingers like this, have people put their foot right there and let me boost them up a little bit. Because if I can do that, just a little bit to a few, little nudges to people who are far more important than me, the ripples will radiate. It's all about looking for those intersections of fate and potential and saying, there, right there, there's a gate, there's a doorway. One way you take will put you on the very predictable path where you work, you make your money, maybe you retire, and at some point in this arc you die, and you may never live. I know a lot of people who stopped living at about 25, and they've just been on a slow funeral march for the rest of their lives. And Kat Rothman is not one of them. The people here are not. Because I know right now it sounds like the accountability is a little lagging around here. And you may be expecting me to kind of chew on you guys for not writing or getting behind. I will not. These happen. This is a difficult time of year, leading to one of the most difficult times of year for creatives, because the holidays tend to hit us either as the greatest thing ever or, oh my God, and it drains our souls out for a while. There is no in between. But I want to tell you this. I believe each and every one of you can get out there and make every dream you have real. Just understand and know your dream. Introspect and find out what you really want. Because the vast majority of the time, when people are honest with themselves, when you really talk to them, they don't want the mass-produced, here's the big that you are rich. You go to this island. You do this. That's not what most people want. They tell us that because it gets us in the rat race to chase something we can't catch. Okay? That is that little fake rabbit that makes the greyhounds run. The vast majority of the time, nobody ever catches the rabbit. Seed truck, sorry. Wanted to give it a chance. But when you go, no. What I genuinely want is to spend time with my kid. And I want to tell my stories. And maybe make some money. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm making that work. Because of my wife's financial position, I can. If I had to go back to work, I'd still make it work because I was making it work when I was working in Sane. I want to help people. I have found a medium where I can. Can I help as many people as I'd like to? No. But I'm helping people. Find your genuine path and walk it, and be not distracted, friends, by the things that will tempt you from your path. I saw a wonderful video and they're like, don't be afraid to be weird. There are whole networks in place to try to get you to do things that erode your the pursuit of your dreams. They make it impossible. These things, I'm sorry, I have something stuck to my glasses. These things are time traps. They're time sucks. They exist to get you to not spend your time doing things that are creative or constructive or better for you. Now, if you truly enjoy them and it is worth it, taking a break is never wasted time. But if you're only doing it because it's habit, or you're only doing it because it's socially acceptable, there are a lot of people. Have you watched network-focused sitcom 246? It was funny when we all laughed when the laugh track went. Or have you watched This Sport? And you have to follow the whole thing, or you're a bad person. This happens to men a lot. Now, I have no problem with people who enjoy sitcoms. I have no problem with people who enjoy sports. I enjoy video games. People tell me that is a horrible waste of time. And I say no, because when I'm enjoying the video game, I enjoy the video game. I sit down and I play usually a first-person shooter for a while to vent off frustration. It is a healthy way I can blow stuff up and feel better. It's cathartic. I play Minecraft with my family, my wife and my son. We all play Minecraft together. We're always looking for these local split screen games because we're engaging in cooperative digital work when we're not physically able to do stuff. But I don't do it all day. I don't come home and my life is sitting in front of the tube. No. And yours doesn't have to be. And the people here are getting that. And the scary thing is, people are starting to realize that the juice is not worth the squeeze. And I really think that's part of why costs are being inflated. Because during the pandemic, a whole lot of people realized I could comfortably live smaller and do what I want to do than do what the systems want me to do. That's liberating. And as authors, as creatives, we have to liberate ourselves to liberate the ideas in our heads. And we have to lose the shackles of all the impediments that are really out there and all the impediments we build saying we can't. Oh, it's too expensive to do it this way. Oh, I won't be approved by a publisher. Oh, I don't spell well. Or, oh, my art isn't as good as so and so. We build these impediments and they are false. They are a form of trained oppression. We are wielding our own chains around our very souls to hold us down, to keep us from rising up to what we could be, which is happy, which is content, which is living a life we want to live. The social contract broke, and no one wants to admit it. There was a time where you go to work, you put in your 30 years of work, and then you retire and you have a good life. You get to do what you want. It was a whole complex perceived American contract, especially as perceived, and I'm going to say this by white men. We were trained this. And it's not right. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying it was trained. It's like some people say women have to do X, Y, and Z. I don't believe that. I don't believe men have to do X, Y, and Z. And that's part of what broke the contract. But what really broke the contract was when companies stopped taking care of their workers. When they could downsize somebody like that, you're not being fired because you've done anything wrong. You're being fired because we can make other people do your job. When that started, the whole system started to spiral into this abusive relationship. And unfortunately, it's not just retailers. It's schools, it's factories, it's retailers, it's restaurants. It's a million and one business practices that are built towards numerical efficiency. But friends, we aren't numbers. We are not machines. And that's why they're trying to make creatives into machines. Make machines into creatives. That's why AI is being pushed so hard. But I believe each and every one of you who watch this, who build this, who are out there, I have a story. I have a dream. I have something I want to do. I have something that has value. Should at least get a shot. Because I will tell you this, I have failed many, many things. I have tried and failed, been weighed, measured, and found lacking in many activities. But the things that I was unable to try, that now as I deal with physical and other real medical limitations that I have to work around, I may not be able to do. I regret the ones I couldn't try. I do not regret the ones I tried and failed at. I didn't do a lot of off-road skateboarding, but I did some. I did get my motorcycle license, but I rode dirt bikes and things that were awful close all over the place. I can operate the vehicle, I just can't do it legally. I have driven very, very fast in my life, and now I drive slow. But I have had the experience of driving very, very fast. I don't own a convertible, but I have. I have surfed and I've snorkeled, and I've seen mountains and valleys and canyons and deserts. I've seen trees older than mountains, and I have seen mountains older than the rings of Saturn. Life, when lived, friends, is wonderful. And as creators, we have a gift. We have an untapped well of brilliance that says we can also make real in the minds of ourselves and others, not just the lives that haven't been lived, but the lives that are in any other way impossible. For those of us who are aficionados of the written word, and I am an artist, I love being an artist, but I want to talk about writing for a second. If I take one of my books that is story-oriented, one of my fiction novels, and I open it up, or anybody's, I open up one of the many ebooks living on this thing, and I look, but that's good. It's not the thing. You open up paper, and these bizarre sigils that have no meaning other than trying to draw sound begin to tell us a story, and the back of my mind opens up, and I'm there, reading for immersion. I am living a life that's impossible. That is nothing short of magic. That's nothing short of a divine power. That's literally a gift of deity, however you want to perceive it. I am a Christian, and I am so unapologetically. But I have seen things, and I believe, guys, that there is wonder. And if we embrace wonder and we embrace our ability, the gift to craft not just matter, but ideas, what makes us the paragon of animals, the ascendant beings on this planet, the keepers of sentience, is our ability to create worlds in our minds and then through our actions project that to others so that either we reshape our world to meet the images, the lightning sparks of firing synapses. Guys, do not lose sight of the power and majesty and wonder we've been blessed with in the form of creativity. We are powerful. And to be creative is to be gifted. Now, it does take skill. If you are not very talented, I believe in my heart, if you want it and you work hard, you can get it. Maybe not the highest echelons, but you can get your piece. And that, friends, is the craft of what we do. That is the hard work. Because at some point we have to sit and take our fingers and type. I know what it's like to type out a book hey, there's one of them, by grabbing a fat marker and stabbing each letter, because the project meant something to me, and a contract is something I honor. I type. Let you in. I had severe peripheral neuropathy. When I type, even with the meds, every keystroke hurts a little bit. I make errors. I shift. Probably the only person alive who stutters while typing. And I know that's not true, but it feels that way. But I do it because it's worth it. Because I want it. And I want what I have that can be of help to me, that has been of help to me, to be of help to you. Maybe it's a story. Maybe it's an adventure that just distracted me. Maybe it's a little, I drew something and the story came out of it because somebody threw a word at me. Maybe it's how to hold a sword and everything that's given me. But I am driven by it. And the thing is, I talk about these passions openly because every one of us, whether we're willing to admit it or not, has that. And we have been taught to be ashamed of it. We've been taught that it's weird and we need to, don't spend so much time studying. Come out and party with us. Don't spend so much time practicing, let's go to the bar. Don't do this. Come do what the mundanes do. And if you're a creator, you are not mundane. The two concepts are diabolically and totally opposed. So I've been prattling. I got Brother Love almost came out for a moment there. But I know there's a comment dump, so I'm going to hit that. But I will say this before I do. The lovely comment that started this whole thing was full-time, mostly miserable. Mostly miserable. Cat. If there's any way we can help get you out of that, we will. But don't let the forced blandness, even worse than darkness. Darkness you see coming, to oppose it, to hold a line against the night. But that murkiness, that lukewarm, no, we're just going to corrode the light and joy and color in the world. That's the one they'll sneak up and destroy you. If there's anything we can do to help you in that battle, you reach out. Because you are one of those people who should never be miserable. Not for something like that. You're too good of a teacher. You're too great an artist and too wonderful soul for that. And that goes to everybody. I'm going to tap her comment. Comment, guys. And I'm going to tap this dump because I'm sure there's an extensive comment dump. Oh, yeah. Oh, I was in rare form. I can always tell by how big the comment dump was. All righty. Bam. Comics Talk with Pop Sunset says, someone's been listening to my plans, Lamau. Ooh, I would run a news channel, but I would only... I love this. This is great. I would... Ooh, Blue Teddy's narration says, I would run a news channel, but one where it's like only reporting on mundane things like the comings and goings of ducks at the local pond or something. That would be delightful. That's why we love local newspapers. I would love to see that. Maybe, you have a YouTube channel. Maybe set up a little video where every once in a week you hit it. Cat in the chat. Love that. Yes, Sterling. Let us know when the show opening is. Go. I want to say it's like the 28th. So I'm really, God. I've like a week. I will be very busy this week. And then I will put out some more books. But Joe and Glenn came in. Nick, Glenn. I hope you're doing well and creating. Bam. Good luck on your procedures today. I'm investigating my day work stress levels and keeping an eye on my eyes over the break. Okay. You take it easy. If you need to go see a doctor, because as a visual artist, that's one of my great fears. Another comment dump. We're really, really hopping today. And that's a comment dump during the comment dump. Wow, that's right, folks. And if you like this, if you like seeing a goofy guy get passionate on the behalf of others, like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, get the message out. I want to build up the people of my chat. And if you watch the show, have the chat running by all that's good and holy. I do have a voice or two that sound pretty good, but I'm not sure they're PG rated. Well, not all ads need to be fully PG rated either. Sexiness sells. Sex doesn't sell, but sexiness does. And thank you, Nick. I just need to get one of my books edited to the level of publishing to the general public without getting sued. Okay, two things. One, reach out to Brian. Brian K. Morris is an amazing person. He's also a very good editor. Just ask Glenn. And two, if the publishing isn't quite, going, hit that to KDP or Lulu. Seriously, talk to Brian, talk to Carl. There are ways to get your stuff out there. And it's much, much simpler than it needs to be. You can do this. We believe you. And getting your stuff out there, that's big ripples. That's karmically significant. I can feel it in my bones. That will help people you've never met and you would never meet otherwise. That's powerful. Oh, the late night only fans Michaela Jade show. Oh my. You cannot throw that whole analogy, expect me to behave myself. I understand it. Dang nabbit, Nick, this is not the green room. Well, it happens. And hi, hey Johnny, hope you're doing well. LOL, Carl, Pops. Okay, we got more greetings. And I know I'm behind on commercials. I got hyper passionate and I fear nothing. So we got a whole bunch of greetings. Everybody's greeting each other. Cool. Bam. From the desk of a small press publisher. Accountability doesn't necessarily mean you did or perform something. It's about getting the things in order so you can accomplish your overall good. Getting a place to write is the same thing. It's writing. I have to balance. That one has caveats because it is a slippery slope. So you have to be careful with that logic. It is true. Setting up is progress. But you can't let yourself fall in the comfort of, I'm progressing towards writing, but I'm not actually writing. You have to break the seal and write a book, a story, draw a picture, have something that might even suck. And then refine it, and then you get people you trust and you respect to refine it. Okay? But I believe in you guys. Oh, that's another comment dump. Oh, gosh. Ooh, do. I have to find where I was and I want to get it done. Glenn B. Fleming. It's dangerous to tell people they can get what they want in life. They can't.
I'm sorry, but there is a guy from Nipsco working on the pole out front.
Okay, that's
I wanted to give you a heads up in case he does something stupid.
Okay. Thank you, dear. There's a gentleman working on the pole, probably tightening our hanging line.
He's digging around the base of the pole.
I see. I have line of sight on him. So if my power goes out, I will go in through my phone and properly shut the video down. But I don't think he's going to do anything. I think he's just shoring things up because we have a leaning telephone pole. But all that aside, the trick, Glenn, is being honest in what you really want and being willing to do what it takes to get it. I don't want to say lowered expectations, but I will run a bit of a parable. I had a friend, dear friend, and I'm not going to name names, but fell madly in love with another friend. And she was never going to be interested in him. There's a temptation to say she was out of his league. And there's some truth to that. And he came to me and he was heartbroken over this realization. And I asked him why. Because most people won't realize what they really want. Okay? Because I asked her, she's a beautiful redhead, and this, that, and this whole list. And I said, now, are you after her because, and all this other things of who she is or what she is? Are you just really attracted to redheads? And he blinked and got kind of funny. I said, look at the list of traits. What are you in love with the person or their traits? Now, I met Amanda. I met my wife, and we're very, very close to being married 20 years. And the second I saw her, I knew I was going to spend the rest of my life with her. Absolutely knew it. Can't tell you how. Just did. But, so dating wasn't my game very much. No, that's not true. I dated a bit, but it was nothing like that. But what he realized, he wanted somebody who was smart and redheaded. That's what something I found attractive. And, he gave me a list of things. I'm like, well, then, if you're looking for attributes, that's a much broader search. And he eventually found something. They have 5 kids that are living a happy life because she wanted a kind of chunky Italian guy. But my point being, you have, like I said, people tell you what you want. They tell you that you want, a sparkly new car that costs more than houses. They tell you you want to vacation at Disney. They tell you you want to, go to a tropical beach and live there. And aren't you the one, Glenn, who says, if you want to travel, make it happen? Aren't you the very soul who said, if you want to see the world, don't buy a bunch of stuff, put the money away. When you get the money, get on an airplane and go see the world? It's the same logic. The problem is we are fed, especially in America, a hyperbolic version of success. You're only successful if you're a millionaire. You can only be happy if you have what we have, and we want you to be jealous for it. Our whole social network is built on this fallacy. And people will freak out if you're happy. It makes people sick. They cannot process it. If you are living small and enjoying it, they don't know what to do. Your car's old. Yeah, I love it. But it's beat up. Yeah, I love it. Why? I just do. It gets me where I want to go. I like driving it, whatever. My old truck, I love my old truck. If I were rich, I would get my old truck fixed up or go electric. But then I'd get an electric truck because I can find things and I can move things. My truck is a big wrench. It's a big tool. I use it. I love my truck. Well, you need to want a Maserati, blah, blah, blah. Or you need to want one of those trucks that you need a hook ladder to get up into. I'm short. Deal with it. That's not true. It's not necessary. The trick of when I say tell people they can get what they want in life, if they work, first off, if they work for it, and if they really understand what it is they want. We have a whole bunch of people running a rat race thinking they want the bunny, the fake bunny on the wire. They're all a bunch of dogs chasing cars who have no idea what they do if they ever caught a car, and go, no, you know what I really want to do is kind of lay in the sun and have a hot dog. And when you realize that's what I want out of life, you stop burning crud on everything else. And you can do that very nicely. So that's how I feel about that. And it's very easy to become embittered when you don't get what you feel you deserve. But I choose to oppose bitterness. I choose to oppose negativity. Because amongst other things, it's too easy. My family has an unofficial motto. Keep charging the enemy as long as there is life. It has a more complex meaning than that. And sometimes it's phrased, as long as there's life, keep charging the enemy. But the point is, giving up out of bitterness or tired or what. You just can't do it. And I won't stand silent when people give excuses of I can't is a 4-letter word. Me and Sergeant Bilko agree on this. There's almost always a way. It may not be the way you think. You have to be very careful with your wishes because you can grant your own wishes in ways you'd never imagined. I want to go to the Met Gala. You want to go to the Met Gala? Yeah. I want to go to the Met Gala and see all the celebrities or whatever. And I'm just pulling this out of thin air because I really don't care about such things. Okay. But I'm not a celebrity. Well, you could go that route. Or you figure out where they hire their caterers from. You become the best caterer you can be. You become the best waiter you can be. And on Met Day, you're out. Now, you're not allowed to be goofy, but you get out and you get to see it all. There are angles. There are lines. And if you want it to be about yourself, well, then you have to do everything in your power to make it about yourself because, yeah, sometimes you won't get it. But if you will get it. Fortune favors the bold, and it favors the people who put in the work. So, yeah, I won't. No. Getting things in order so you can draw is the same as drawing. Accountability is the measure of judging what you... Okay, I get where you're going toward the goal. Autocrats, more about getting things in order so you can accomplish your goal. I got you. Hi, Cindy. Okay. Autocorrect, yes. Now, Cindy's going to plug my stuff, so I need to run a commercial. I've gone nearly an hour without running a commercial. This is going to be one of those great late shows because I am prattling. But Cindy's here, so we'll run her.
Author Cindy Koepp is writing on the edge. Books include Remnant in the Stars, The Loudest Actions, Lines of Succession, Mindstorm, Condemned Courier, the Yerushalayim series, and Animal Eye. Find author Cindy Koepp at CKOEPP.com today.
Yeah, folks, Cindy Koepp, she's going to share a whole bunch of my links to help promote me because I don't promote myself nearly enough. And I really appreciate it. But I wanted to share that by her. And while we're here, I'm going to throw Joe D. McPhee's because even though I like Glenn Fleming, I have people that I don't always agree with on my shows. And I love when they're in the chat because we have a conversation. I don't ever want to live in an echo box. So, I've had people don't you hate so-and-so because that, you disagree sometimes or you get scrapping. No, we're mature adults. We have opinions and concepts and facts and we discuss. And guess what? I've learned a whole lot from Joe D. McPhee. And I do never doubt. I take the time I get to spend online interacting with Glenn Fleming as nothing short of a master course. It is a discussion with someone who is intensely educated in their field with decades of experience. Always respect that. Even if you disagree with somebody, always, always, always respect that. So let's hop the comments, and I will be running Kat's ad in a bit, but let me get back to the comments to where I was. And we've got comment dumps all over the place. So let me find where I was again. Hey, Joe. All righty. Have you gotten sword foo and axe foo and spear foo? You need to. Oh, yeah. You will learn the might of the simple sword. Ha! Yes. I love my books. I love teaching people. I love the energetic stuff that comes from learning to sword fight. And I may be doing something on the Historical Fencing Guild channel that I have never done in all my years of doing it. I have to check how the Patreon vote goes. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, and maybe you want in on that vote, always vote in every election. Go to patreon.com/the Historical Fencing Guild and find out what I'm talking about. Tonight, history, fencing, and other people! And that's the Historical Fencing Guild's direct link. Bam. And Joe's greeting everybody again. And Neurosis has for readers, that's Amy Hale's stuff. Good job, someone. You got Nick on a rant. That's what, some people come here for the rant. They want to see what I can and can't do. And if you can get me to go off on something, I will. And we got Get Liquid Armor, smashwords.com/book/search Brian K. Morris. Where Brian's involved, support Brian K. Morris at Risingtide.pub to #bring Cookie home. Because I'd love to get them in a situation where Cookie doesn't have to work out of the house and they can cuddle and she can keep him on track. Because if Cookie goes into full-time executive publisher mode, executive producer mode, friends, there's no hope for Brian, no escape. If she is there, lovingly, gently guiding his hand to work, think of the things he'll get done. So if you love Brian, and you love Brian K. Morris, support him. And if you want to see him suffer, support him more, because you know that Cookie, when she's there, doesn't put up with his BS. We love you, Brian. Whatever angle it takes, brother. Whatever angle it takes. And speaking of angles it takes, let Cat art, because I believe everyone should be able to pursue their dreams. Now, back to the comments where I continue my lifelong battle against negativity. Rage against the dying of the light. Ooh, that's a good one. It's a good one. Go not gentle into that night, but rage against the dying of the light. Oh, doesn't that just surges power? Like I can feel it go right up my scalp. Poetry. Now, let's see. We've got more greetings, and we've got, it's Hallowed Birthmas season. Fine, you need some irreverent holiday humor. Amazon.com/Brian K. Morris. She's talking about Santa Stein, the post-holiday Prometheus. Brian still needs to send me his commercials. I want pictures of Spider-Man. I want to hear commercials so I can promote you. Bear Publication for sci-fi fun. And their bit.ly Bear Pub. Here is my YouTube channel I made for my students. Okay, folks. Go to the... Cat has a whole bunch of channels. Okay. You need to subscribe to all of them. Because one, great education. Here's the thing. If you're wanting to learn how to do something and you don't necessarily know how, you know what's amazing? When you get a teacher like Cat who does lesson plans for students. Because guess what? If you are learning from the basics, you can open a kid's book and learn from it to make your way up to the adult studies. I do it. There's no shame. You start with what's called a primer. And she does amazing educational and entertaining content. Follow her. And the YouTube channel I made for me this summer. Yes! I want you guys to follow these two channels. Okay? Get in the links. Follow these channels so that she can get to 100. Because if she can get to 100 followers, guys, and I know we have the power to do it, she can get a custom URL. So it will be, instead of a whole bunch of gobbledygook like you see on the screen, it will be the Adventures of the Rock and Roll Art Goddess channel. And I want her to have that. That is important. I want everybody who promotes my show to have that as a tool, because that is a huge promotional tool. It's one of the most powerful things you can do using the YouTube platform. Please help set that up. I don't ask a lot of you guys, and I'm not saying spend money. That comes later. No, I'm saying you can do this with a click. Okay? So please do that, and you will be entertained. Get your custom Royal Cruise at Subscribe Star Royal Cruise, He's also got a art station, artstation.com/Royal Cruise. I skimmed past it, and comics book related madness. That's Pops Van Zat's channel. And Victoria Adams helps you understand the Book of Job, which is a wonderful book. Whoa, Richie needs to bounce. Family just went to the ER. Well, I missed that, Richie. I got behind, but you're in our thoughts and prayers, brother. If you see this, hit me up. If not, I'll reach out to you later to check on you. Cindy Koepp trolls can be good guys. That's SL Roland's Amazon. And our thoughts are with you, Rich. They really are. Cindy Koepp's also toys and website, Swick site, geeky fun around the Midwest, quadcitycon.com. And saying bye to Richie. Omaha Halloween QuadCon Comics and Toy Show, October 29th and 30th. Go check out the geekliness. Tell John I sent you. This weekend, St. Charles QuadCon. This is the Cindy Koepp News Network, where she gives you all the conventions in the middle of our country. Okay. Charles QuadCon Comic and Toy Show, October 23rd. And we've got new monster anthology at yeolddragonbooks.com/meet the dragons. Denver Martinez has a DeviantArt, deviantart.com/theraider05. Skunk Rocker does voice acting, facebook.com/skunkrockerlive. He's Kyle Guthrie's a neat dude. He's just a neat dude. He and Michaela Jade are doing some voice stuff. I may, with my scratchy fall apart voice, do some voice stuff in the future too. We're not sure. Magic Ghost Stories and Tales from the Decoverse at John B. Pica's Amazon. Nerd Culture at that YouTube station. Amazon's Russell Small Desks at youtube.com/user-civbolt. And Warriors Are Everywhere. Wow, okay, we're going to get through this. Warriors Are Everywhere. Amazon.com/Michaela Jade. Hybrid Rift Writers at LukeStoneStudios.com. Yes, go there. Get the quick play. The full version is coming soon. I have heard things. I'm excited. Zombies Take Trains now. Eric S. Hawkins. Winning the awards. Stormgate Press. And I've been working hard on my personal detachment from teaching lightly, and I'm getting really good at it. Beautiful, cat. Just big hugs. Huge hugs, because teachers have to be able to turn off. Any job you work, you have to be able to turn off when you leave the job, or you'll go insane. Thank you, Nick, for your homily today. I greatly appreciate it. Comment dumpception. Yes, we've had that. Lurker mode engaged. Cindy Koepp has gone. I really need to get a little cloaking ship gift to go across the screen. I might be able. I'm gonna look up, see if I can learn how to do that. Hey kids, sorry I'm late. No worries, Grant. You just missed one heck of a rant. Although you may have been here early enough to see it. Can't stay long because I got super long because I got work to do. Sorry, Nick's Lexia got a hold of that. But Grant, that's wonderful. That means you're busy. Get your stuff done. Promote, create. I am 29 pages into a flash fiction / art book I'm doing. That is one of the 3 I want to get out before the end of the year. And I was searching for all my links to add, and I accidentally discovered an online journal that has 2 shots of my posts on Twitter for Diary of a COVID Classroom Teacher. Woohoo! See? Cat, you give me the basic tools. Just throw, I want you, dear, if you're still watching this, throw on Facebook Messenger, give me all your links. Bam, 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 bam. That way I have them in a place where I can find them, and then I will do what I can. I will motivate myself towards that level of promotion. And we got a comment dump. Ba-dum, 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 bum. We in the U.S. are fed a universal dream and not everything on an individual level. The universal dream is more acceptable in the eyes of the majority and not cater to what you really want. Exactly. I'm going to tell you, I am only as well known through like YouTube and this stuff as I am because I have to be. If I were living a hedonistic life, my version of a hedonistic life would be somewhere warm where I'm hanging out around shallow waters and I'm swimming and I'm just doing art and writing and hopefully making a lot of money without having to meet anybody. Because believe it or not, for all my song and dance, what's going on out there now? Oh, they're doing more to our power cable and another truck has arrived. Anyway, because for all my energy projection, as soon as I get off the show, I turn off and just I deflate for a while and just recharge. But I also love doing this. Although I would be very uncomfortable if I were in a setting like where too many people recognize me. We're like, hey, that like fame that people pursue, not my jam. But being able to build a world that's better for my son and maybe set up things that have a legacy. Because Lord knows we're fighting the programs and trying to get in, and that doesn't work real well. That's why I do it. And I seek peace and serenity. That would be me living out my total dream. And when it's time to retire to that, I will. But today this is me at work. This is my work right now. Building up others, promoting, doing as much good so that when I can't, I will have put it in the bank and hope that that's enough to have done some good. Bam. Instagram.com/rockandrollart goddess. Go there. I meant to say not everyone has the capacity to get what they want. Some people want the house, etc. They can get that. It's dangerous to tell kids they can be what they want to be. It can be. That's why I'm very careful with my language. I'm surprisingly careful with my language. And part of it is for things like that. We need my friends, to be both realistic and accepting of compromise isn't the right term. But we still have to chase the dream as well. And the problem is people will chase a far-flung, untouchable dream and lose out on the beauty that's right in front of them. Motivation should never outrun mindfulness. They should be working in cohesion. They can. And you know what? Glenn, is the capacity or alignment of want or desire. Most people can get a home. It may not be what they want to maintain, but it's obtainable. That's where I kind of live. The home I reside in is literally twice the home I ever expected to get. And while it has its flaws and needs a lot of work, I still consider it a mansion. Every time I come home, when I think about the places I've been and the situations I've been in, I get a little misty-eyed. Every time, just for a second, I look at the house and it hits me that this is my home. And it's a mess and it needs repair. And I'm trying to get my health up to be able to do that. And finances. But it's mine. It's safe. I come home and I am safe. And that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. If I were extremely wealthy, there are only a few things I would change about my home to be, quote unquote, perfect. And a lot of them, I'm doing little things to change to make it so. Because I have a set of dreams. And I'm working towards them. And I might show some of them off when things are set up. Because you can have little dreams. And they're important. Okay? Instagram.com/diary of a COVID classroom teacher. When I think capacity, I think individual level ability or level means. People's capacity is limited to how they use their ability and means. Absolutely. You got to realize from a survival standpoint, there are people who, if you drop them in the woods, would be dead in a couple hours. And there are people who, if you drop them in the woods, you'd come back and they'd have a house and a garden and they'd be set up. Look like the freaking Taj Mahal of survival settings. I can't teach wealth because I don't know it. I don't have it. I can't teach power. Again, I don't know it and I have very little over other people. But what I can teach is creativity, opening your mind, gathering skills, because I am both a geek and a nerd. I will let you in on a terrible secret. I am a geek and a nerd. Now, words change and shift. And the are you a geek, are you a nerd debate was a very powerful thing for some time. Geeks are people and this is past the original who eat stuff on side, but are motivated by love of fandom, and they are the collectors of paraphernalia and games, and they get very unabashedly passionate about such things. Geek. There's lots of geek there. Lots of geek. Okay. Now, nerds are people who are academically inclined, often in realms of mathematics or other, not necessarily socially history. Usually you get a subset nerd, history nerd, a math nerd, something like that. That over here is a little harder to prove because I have more books behind me and most of my books aren't here. I'm redoing it. But that's where you see mechanical drafting and a whole pile of various art books. The Roy Underhill's The Woodwright Shop, or how with a few simple tools to build, you can build all the tools you need to build a log cabin. I am a geek who collects skills. Isn't that delightful? I collect low-level skills. I am a petty dabbler across the board. And I find that refreshing. I find it delightful. I may deep dive for a while, and maybe it's my ADD, maybe it's autistic, I don't know. But I've acquired, and over years, I've done so many little things because I've tried them. Oh, I have these. So I have all these skills. And the neat thing about skills is skills are, you can do, they have a life expectancy if you don't maintain them. So you have to keep up with them, but you can also transfer them. You can teach people these skills. You can learn skills. And there doesn't have to be money. That's why they're never sure how to teach, how to pay teachers, and they never pay them enough because the skills that they give it's very hard to weigh that in a math, this dollar is worth this much chicken, setting. So it puts me in a weird place. But it also means that I have a bunch of skills where I won't probably be, if you drop me in the woods, until my medicine ran out and it became problematic, I would be okay. I could do things. And I am learning to do more because I find it interesting. I'm not a very big author, but I'm a published author. My works are out there. They sell. So I give the little bits, this is what I know, and I point you to people who know more about what you're interested in. That's how I was when I was in the SDA. I specialized in this is the basics. This is how you learn, how you get authorized. basic skills. I'd see how you fight and go, okay, talk to that guy. He fights like you do. He's big into this book. Or that lady. That's my mentality. That's what I do here. I love finding people. You're worried about the editing in your book. Have you talked to Brian? Have you talked to Carl? You're interested in steampunk. Bonsert is in our chat. I'm going to point you to Bonsert because he knows steampunk better than anybody. We've got another comment dump. Let's see, how far am I behind? Not too bad. Now, thinking of the adage of doing more with less capacity. Good point. At Glenn B. Fleming and Instagram.com/The Teaching Warrior. She's all over Instagram. Instagram.com, Education Renovation Nation. Okay, that is you. I need to favorite that one too. Oh, sneaking in some accountability. Please do. I did a commission this week that includes some techniques I'd never used before, and I'm actually pretty pleased at how it turned out. Wonderful. If it's something you can show, please put a link and just space it if I haven't given you a wrench. If you have a wrench, just share the link. We want to see what you do. I want to go to space. I want to walk on the moon. It's not, though, it's not through not trying. I can't. It's not through not trying. Okay. You know what? Let's do this. I love a good gotcha. First off, yeah. There are things we can't currently do now. And sometimes we face that. Scientific or financial impossibilities. Okay. You can't. Good, you got that. But do you simply complain? Do you just sit back and go, I can't do that, and fuss like a small child pouting in a corner? No. You can't go to the moon because, well, right now it's financially and scientifically difficult. Our world has stopped certain types of progress. I believe we're in a type of dark age nobody wants to talk about. But you can't have that. You know what you can do? You can go to space camp style programs. You can go to museums. You can study it. You can immerse it. You can learn as much as you can. I'll tell you something. I would love to go scuba diving, deep scuba diving. It's been a passion of mine since I was a little kid watching Jacques Cousteau. The same obstructions that have made me have to breathe through a machine at night keep me from being a good candidate medically without a whole lot of changes that I'm trying to make to travel below it at more than about 2 atmospheres. But I've known that for a long time. I also have certain injuries and conditions that the changing in pressures could cause great damage to me. It's also why you don't see me in airplanes very often. I mean, that's why next week I have MRIs. That's, there's a lot. But I can still snorkel. I can still swim around in shallow water and look at fish and have low-level adventures. The choice isn't, I have a dream, I'm going to do it. It's what level can you reach? And there does come a point where you have to be honest in your assessment. Go, I'll never physically be able to reach that. And yeah, and I know you love pointing at that talent line. But danged if I haven't come, I couldn't come in first in a tournament. But I came in second a whole lot. And I could choose to be upset that I didn't come in first. Granted, there are some extenuating circumstances, and I know that. But I did what I could. And that's the trick. You do what you can with what you have. And is there going to be a little lament? There'll always be a little lament. But nihilism is lazy and it's cowardice. And the whole, well, you just can't have it. Bitterness for me is giving up on everything because you can't have one thing. And that's that. And this is not you, okay? This is not you. I don't want people thinking I'm attacking Glenn because I'm not. I have a lot of people and they will, well, I can't be this. Okay. What can you be? Realistically, what can you do? And you look at yourself and you go, well, I can do this. And if I want to do this, I can make lots of little steps to get there. That's how you get there. And you're not dead yet, Glenn. You're not dead yet. So the game isn't over yet. And that's what I'm about. You just, people think it's a win-lose game, and it's a lot more like an RPG. It's what can you become? What do you choose to become? How do you choose to work with it? You know how many people would, give their eye teeth to draw like you do? And you're going to say, well, yes, I have the talent. You also have 40 years of working on it. Because talent alone isn't enough. And I have found that hard work and dedication is far more valuable in the long run than mere talent. And yeah, you may never reach the peak of certain things. And some things are impossible. Like, I can't fly, but, I could run a plane. I could take a bunch of money and go buy a ultralight helicopter, one of those little hang gliders with a fan on the back. You gotta find your line. And you know what? They have simulators. They have zero-G things. You can get closer. But you have to decide, are you going to give up and take, if I can't have the exact genuine article, that if you accept to be that is the great tragedy and ache in your life, then that's your choice. But you've chosen to. But it took way longer than I expected, so now I'm a tiny bit behind on my comic book schedule. That's real. That's absolutely that's the price of creation. We always have scheduling problems, but you do your best, and that is okay. Keep at it, Blue Teddy. And I'm not being negative. I'm being realistic. Different thing. It's funny, people talk about being realistically negative, but they're afraid to talk about being realistically positive. Because if you're realistically positive, if you set actually achievable goals, then if you don't, it's on you. As long as your goals are unachievable, there's no real accountability. So yeah, I don't think you're being negative. And I do think you're hitting points that some people they'll give the fluff, but not the filling. And I'm all about being balanced. Instagram, the adventures of the RN art goddess. Yep, rock and roll art goddess, RNR. Gun improves the capacity concept. You don't have the means to develop the method, so you do your own, or you do your means and have SpaceX like that. Yeah. I think realism is helpful to keep in mind, but my experience is people undersell themselves more than oversell. But the overselling is usually louder. So I can't do it. Now, the other thing, if we really want to get into what makes humanity great, is you have a dream. You know what? Before we went to the moon, no one could go to the moon. We found a way. And if you can't, then what you do is you do something. You invest in groups like the Planetary Society. You study, and if this is your See, if that was your whole core dream, and that's what you truly wanted to do, you do everything in your power to achieve it. And if you have to let it go, you let go that part, but then you do what you can to facilitate others achieving that dream. My students have won tournaments. Read that again. My students have won tournaments. They have done what I couldn't do. And you know what? I would wager your desire, your love for going into space, even though it's out of reach, has forced you to create this beautiful fantasy in Hatch. The elements, you voiced that frustration and turned it into something positive. They talk about Van Gogh channeling pain into beauty. That's what we do. When it's unachievable, we create a world where something else is. Maybe it's a pleasant fiction, maybe it's an inspiration for others, in the hopes that those who follow us, whether they be of our genetic progeny, like my son is to me, or our ideological progeny, like all our students, all the people who read our books and get the ideas we are transmitting, we are now tied to them in a genealogy of dreams. So let's keep building towards that. Mobile.twitter, RNR Art Stars, thank you. Echo me before, is there a ways to change your capacity? Yes. Kant is saying you don't or choose not to. Realistically, so to change your potential, most people too far beyond their capacity and won't develop. Parent, you can do whatever you want. I want to fly like Superman. Okay. You really want to fly like Superman, Glenn? They have jet suits. They have them. They have wingsuits that you can glide. It's not perfect because you're taking a literal fiction and lamenting over something that doesn't exist. So you build the technology to make that fiction as close to a reality as humanly possible. I think it's a little easier to go to scuba diving than go to the moon. Not for me. It would mechanically, for me to reach certain depths, would very likely, without some of the treatment and stuff I'm working on, cause me crippling to fatal. So yes, I could do it, but it would kill me. You could try to build a rocket in your backyard, Wallace and Gromit style, and launch at the moon to bring crackers with you. And if it blows up, you still couldn't do it, but you tried. My point being, I know what that dream was. And what you're equating is your dream was something like flying like Superman. Your dream was currently impossible to you. And yes, all of us who were born of the era where science was progressing and before things kind of halted for financial reasons, and we were going to have biodomes on Mars, and we were going to colonize the moon. And hey, Shatner went to space. It's not over yet. Nope. Let me get rid of that. Get that. And we have more comments. The commission is going to be used for a Halloween TTRPG. Some of my friends follow me on social, so I can't post it until the first session of the game. But yes, please do. You can't handle the pressures of scuba diving. But you missed the other end. Why did I want to go scuba diving? Because I wanted to explore underwater. I wanted to see the fish. So since I can't go in the depths, I can still snorkel. I free dive to the edge of an atmosphere down. That's why I say I like to stay around not deeper than 12 feet of water. But because I realized I couldn't go there, I found a way to do the best I could and still have enjoyment rather than writing it all off, throwing my hands in the air and walking away. I've been in an aircraft at 50,000 feet. I wasn't in space. I want to go to space. Then do something about it. Right? No. If that's your real dream and you're going to be this fixated on it, if you want to go to space, okay? There, Elon Musk is getting people who, they're taking rockets up. Billionaires went up to the space station. You may, if it was your true heart's desire and everything you wanted, you could theoretically write off everything else and sell everything you own, mortgage, buy, borrow, steal, whatever you'd have to do to get the money to do it. But logically, right now, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. And I'm sorry. But just because you can't reach your dream should never impair the ability for others to reach theirs. Now, and like I said, some you can't get the exact, but you got to start boiling it down. And yes, the scuba diving is a better example of your points. I'm still giggling over the Superman statement. You don't want to kill a child's imagination by telling them the truth. And that's the thing. When we pursue dreams as a child, we pursue dreams. The vast majority of us realize through life, or that's not our experiences expand. That it's not possible or pragmatic. It's there because what do you want to grow up? A dinosaur. But the irony is, right now there are people who are costume actors, and they work in a couple museums and places literally as dinosaurs. Their job is to be a dinosaur. Is it the same as actually being a million-year-old theropod? No. But it's a doable version. And that's why we have to find the doable versions of things. No, I'm not. No, Glenn. I'm not missing the point entirely. I see the point. I see the point loud and clear. I am giving you an impossibility. And I'm breaking it down to its components to go which components of it are probable. I can't be a born alien on Earth with quasi-magical powers, because, it's Superman. It's science fantasy at best, who can fly by kind of weird levitation-y stuff. Heck, Superman couldn't fly in the beginning. He could just jump really high. And power creep got him. But, so it's I want to fly. Okay. I know what it's like to fly. Cool. You want to fly? Fine. You want to fly under your own? Okay, that's an impossibility. The whole sentence is an impossibility. But if you're willing to go, part of it is you could have a lot of fun with 80% of that sentence. That's the difference between, see, the point is, it is not a zero-sum equation. We do not need to have everything to feel fulfilled. And will never give up the little things because I can't fully reach the big things. I'm not writing off my point. You're missing my point. No, well, it's this hard line. Some things are impossible, and you need to accept they're impossible. And I accept that the whole sentences, but I will find and strive for clauses, because as somebody who's spent It's impossible for somebody to sword fight who's blind. I taught people that. It is impossible for this person to speak. I helped a mute person speak. I have helped through physical therapy a lame person walk. I have literally seen the impossible manifest with my own two eyes through hard work and dedication. So I hold to it. You have to, in the words of Jack Sparrow, the problem isn't the problem. The problem is your problem with the problem. I think I'm halfway between you two guys because anything you want is pretty hyperbolic, but I think it's pretty useful to have exactly. And the core of my statement on all this, because I don't think anything. What do you really want? And the thing is, if you truly want something bad enough, you'll do everything in your power to get it and get as close as you can, and that still has value. You're still missing the point. Although this conversation is hilarious to me. The Superman example is where you have to deal with rational thought. Superman is a fictional character and the abilities, or I could say more, but I won't. Okay. You are going to tell a child that they can't developmentally enough to understand why they can't fly like Superman. But that's all towards your point about capacity. You're still missing the point. I'm not conceding the point. And that's what makes it interesting. That's why, and thank you again for this lively discussion. I know a man has got to know what he can and cannot do. A man has got to understand his limitations. However, there are two approaches from that point. I want something I will never be. And there are some people, if my son were to, I want to fly like Superman. My response would be, well, Superman is imaginary. But if you want to fly, there are ways to do it. And science is doing crazy things. We can get closer to that. I do believe someday we'll have people regularly commuting to the moon. I am hopeful for humanity, despite humanity's best efforts to convince me otherwise. It's like when you tell someone else that something is warm or hot, the capacity to understand what would take is getting capacity to understand that would take one's individual capacity of understanding hot, like getting, yes, actually, that's fascinating. My very first word was hot. It was. My mom pointed at the old barrel fireplace and said hot. And she would tell me hot. As a little kid, I had no idea. I mean, little tiny Nick had no idea there's no point of reference. Hot. Is it because it's black? Why is it hot? Then I touched it, and it did something nothing else had ever done to me. It was hot, and it kind of burned my hand a little bit. No damage, just ow. Now, boom, that's what hot is. Boom. Ironically, when you look at someone like Helen Keller, mute, blind, deaf-blind, not mute, deaf-blind. The word that got through, because she communicated by a type of sign language pressed in her palm, was water, because it had that tangible backup. And that's that point of eureka. That's what brought it all together. Her whole life, and the lives of thousands of blind people and deaf people and blind deaf, when they happened, was shaped by the moment that someone worked hard enough to put a shape, water, and I don't know what it is. I'm just doing this because it's a shape. And shoved her hand in water, and the little girl went, water. That moment was transcendental. That was humanity overcoming. And I've literally, the reason I get so fired up about this is my job, my occupation has been to help people find ways to do what they don't think they can do, to overcome limitations, because it's a battle I constantly fight. And I do not take my able-bodiedness, which I am actually quite able, as a given. So that's where I'm always he can get the point and still disagree, especially in something like this. That's why I'm always doing this. Sorry. I'm not conceding the point as a reaction to you're missing the point. For someone that constantly struggles with the temptation to play devil's advocate, is very tempting to do. It is. A lot of times it's like, no, I literally will understand what people are saying. And I can turn it around in my head, flip it around, but I can't agree with it. But that would mean to attain what you want is to understand the true capacity to attain it. Not everyone would have the capacity. Oh, no, I get that. Yes, I get that. And not just the ability can be developed and that capacity can be grown, but perspective shapes capacity, because we have to mentally see a different route. It's literally, there is a mountain. I cannot rock climb this mountain, but I want to go over the mountain. I want to go to the top of the mountain. So I just wanted to bypass it. I'd take the long route around. I want to go to the top of the mountain. That's what I want to do. Now, let's say I want to I'll do the work. I'm going to do the exercise. I'm going to grind to get myself stronger and develop my hand strength, study how to the grips and holds. But thank you, Joe. Yes, and I do like having the translation. You're doing very well, Joe. Is it weird having people argue without devolving into name calling and the like? Is something making this reaction wholesome to me? Rare these days. No, that is why I consider it an absolute blessing to have Glenn here and have Joe and have people that I don't always disagree with. Because one part is I do see Glenn's point, and it's forcing me to rethink how I go at mine. It tests the theory. When I teach people how to sword fight, okay, and I give them techniques, I encourage them to stress test it, to spar. Okay, there is no malice in sparring in any martial art, but it's vital that you spar with people of different systems to find out if yours works. And if it doesn't, you go, wow, that didn't work. How did you do that? And then you discuss. This isn't a debate. I'm not trying to be right. Have Glenn be right. This is right or wrong. These are two very, and with Glenn and I on this is something that happens on Nerd Bacon frequently. We're very opposite angles of each other on a lot of this stuff, but it's fascinating because he makes good points. It's just I see it a couple steps in a different direction, and people need to hear that, because a lot of people who watch this show direct message me, and I get messages like, I want to be a writer, but I can't. And then I ask things like, what's stopping you? And when I ask somebody, what's stopping you? What's impeding you? What's keeping you from doing something you love? Then we can come to a consensus. Problems lie at understanding where another true capacity is. And I'm not even worried about another's. It's I want to help people understand theirs and find it out. And that requires stress testing. That requires failure. Change is made possible through the viscosity of tears. Getting back to the mountain. I may not be able to ever get strong enough to climb a sheer face. But I might be able to rock a chisel, and it might take me 20 years of chiseling out. Tink, 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 tink. Here's a step. Bonk. Tink, 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 tink. Here's a step. Bonk. Tink, 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 tink. And it's tedious and it's hard. But if you really want it, you find a way. And maybe sometimes, and it's tragic and true, there are some mountains you can't climb. And yet that is the point you have to accept. That's where Glenn's living right now. That mountain is impossible to climb. So either I have to get to the top, I have to invent something. Get a helicopter, get a hot air balloon. I have to do it, pay someone. And that means getting enough money to do it. And if it's totally impossible, if it's totally beyond me, and there are things in this world I've been weighed, measured, and found lacking, things that are truly beyond my capacities. And sometimes it's day by day, but you decide, okay, I can still climb this mountain. And you find another. And when you get on the top of that mountain, you look at the first mountain, and you think about it again. And maybe your capacities have changed. Maybe not. So if you really can't, you do everything in your power to leave a legacy that will help others. And that's where I live. Impossible is a temporary state. Now, as an adult, impossible is a horrible word for a child. Impossible is the slayer of creativity. That's why it has to be handled thus. But when I talk about teaching, I talk about creating, I talk about overcoming things. I leave the actions of the children to professionals who specialize in it. That's why we have experts. That's why we have people like Kat Rothmel. I've worked with children. I prefer to work with adults. But it is a joy to have this kind of conversation. And some person came on. Some more information from different perspectives helps. It's a more holistic form of understanding. And that is the other hang up I have. I am very smart. I do not say this lightly. I am very smart. I'm also very disconnected. Literal brain damage will do that to you. But because my connections are a little looser, I can see connections other people can't. It's kind of logically, it's like being able to see the stars because the moon is dark. I may not see just how bright the moon is sometimes, but I can see all these other stars because one connection isn't blotting out a bunch of others. And that's why I transpose things. I'm dyslexic. That's why I can 3D render objects in my head. It's a different form of mutability of object permanence. It's very strange. And that way works on concepts. So it's very rare when I say, this is how it is. And this is how it is only when I have spent vast amounts of time mapping and remapping and angling. And when I say I believe people can be more and they can be creative and they can transcend, I've studied it. I've seen it. I do not have to believe in the concept of a miracle. and blessed are those who do. I have experienced things that are nothing short of miraculous. I mean, statistical anomalies that when my brain starts calculating the odds and I look at the factors going in, it just shouldn't have worked that way. I have survived things I shouldn't. I've seen people survive things they shouldn't, and I have seen people die. Okay. So this is only when a person accepts what they can't do they achieve what they can. And that is probably the most hopeful statement I've ever seen come out of you, Glenn. And that's beautiful, because I think what's happening is, in many ways we agree, but you're living in before you focus your discussions on before the comma. I focus my perspective on after the comma, because it is very frustrating to watch people chasing things that simply cannot be, because it hurts to see them waste energy and disappoint themselves. But that's part of it. And remember, fantasy exists not to tell us dragons exist, but to teach us that we can overcome them. And that silly padding we give children of happy endings that seems so cynical is required to bolster against the fact that life will do everything in its power to convince you that it's impossible. I have that Cinderella song stuck in my head about, but because these daft and dewy-eyed dopes keep building up impossible hopes, impossible things are happening every day. I've done a lot in my life, as you know, but I can't get to space. Yet. And the other thing, and this is very intensely personal and very truthful to me, I know it seems like, Nick, you just cling on to it like your life depends on it. I want you to understand that's because it does. That's because it has. Helping people overcome their limitations through hard work when they're faced with an impossibility has one side of my perspective. The other, much harder, much grittier, much darker, is the perspective of having lost and watched impossible become commonplace. Something happened to me. They're still not sure what. They're not sure why. Something went wrong in my back. And I went from running literally 20 miles a day to having to crawl on my hands and knees, mostly dragging my right leg, to make it to the restroom. And in that point, walking normally was impossible. And I went to the doctor and they said, you have 6 months. And within 6 months, your back's going to be paralyzed. That's what we're finding out now. That was almost 20 years ago. Every day for the last 20 years or so, I've worked and I've done the impossible because I'm still standing. Now, I understand that tomorrow may be a case of maybe the day I get up and I can't again. And I'll be back in the wheelchair. Back looking at the wheelchair, back figuring out how to get the ramps in and stuff. This happened to me again one night. My nerves went out. It was impossible for me to type. It was impossible for me to do things normally. And it still is. That's the irony. If I were to do things the standard way, it would be impossible for me. Holding my hand flat, pushing down, and operating a mouse like this very rapidly causes extreme pain. It was impossible at that moment. That's the yet. That's the yet. That click right there. In that moment, it was impossible. But I worked. And I changed. And it became possible. Chasing the line of making something that is beyond your capabilities is the great work of my life. And the trick is to do it. To do it, you have to acknowledge it is impossible now. But I can work this step, and I can make it. And if I can't do it, I can change. It might have been impossible for me to walk unaided. And that's what you look for. You look for the clauses that you're not saying. So I have to use a cane. I have, since I was 15 years old, I have on and off needed a cane. No, at that point, no, Luke, Glenn, you don't understand. When it was bad, okay, at that day, it was impossible. So I did what I could. To walk around like I do now, I've spent the last couple of years. It would have, if I went out the door, everything I had, I would have collapsed on the street. I know because it happened. I couldn't make it to the mailbox. So I started walking back and forth in my hallway. Because going farther than it was beyond impossible. Finding what is and isn't. And then if it becomes impossible for it, if I look and go, everything under my power, cannot do it. Then you accept. That's the hard one. That's the Glenn universe. You accept and you take that side step. And the side step is, then how do I do it another way? That's where this is my mouse. Oops, hit a button. This is a vertical mouse. I couldn't write my books. I couldn't do what I do without a vertical mouse. This is my ergonomic keyboard. Okay. It is custom angled, and I got to put it down because it's really hard to hold at this angle. It is angled and raised because typing on a flat keyboard for me, for any real length of time, is impossible. It will literally short out the nerves and make my hands stop. So I go, what, is it impossible that I type, or is it impossible that I type on this? And that little wiggle room is where hope lives. And as somebody who spent far too much time mired in despair and lost and miserable, that little, yes, somebody made that mouse and keyboard. For you, it was impossible. All you did was buy it. Yes! Yes! Yes, Luke. Yes! Yes! It's impossible for you to go space. On your own rocket, your own way. If you got the money, you could buy a rocket. You could get a ride on SpaceX, and you could go. It is no longer impossible. It becomes infeasible. You see? And my goal wasn't about the keyboard. It wasn't, I want to type on this keyboard. Type. I wanted to tell the story. That's what the goal was. This was the tool set. I had to find a new tool set. But as long as I stared at this tool set, it was impossible. And all you did is buy it. To tell you what, that's the other one. Yeah, I did. I bought that. And I did occupational therapy every day for years. This. I had to fight to be able to do this. And I still do this. Every day I work each individual nerve to be able to have my hands function. They're called nerve glides. And I do this. I sleep. I used to have to wear them. If you look at some of my old videos, you see them. I wore I will actually answer your question, some person. I wore bracers, big plastic things, and I had to wear them everywhere I went to immobilize, like braces. I do full body nerve things. I had to change my diet, completely eliminate caffeine. I take medication that would put most people into a seizure, would shut down their brain, to make it possible. Because I found a way. It was hard. I didn't just buy it and get better. No. I had to work and invest agony. And I will still tell you, even this, every keystroke hurts. Every time I pick up a stylus or a pen, it hurts. Because the impossible is going, can I do this without pain? And I said no. So I accepted the pain. I accepted the pain as payment, as sacrifice, to lay on the altar of creativity, in hopes that through my works I can do better. And that's what that is about. Oh, okay. Some person says, I wonder if a titanium sword is just as light as a plastic one. We've gotten more advanced with metallurgy. A titanium sword is lighter. I've dealt with titanium in armoring and a few other things back a couple lifetimes ago, it feels like. The problem is titanium is very, very hard, so it's brittle. And with a sword, you want flexibility, which is why spring steel that goes boing and retains its shape, is so important. That's why crucible steel is so important. They are doing different things. Now, if you're having weight problems with a sword, I need to know if you are looking for a live steel sword or you're looking for trainers. If you're looking for lightweight trainers, depending on your fighting style, actually, and almost not, hit me up. I can recommend a great many, because I've recently had to switch because I can barely hold my live steels to I found a design of polypropylene rapiers, actually. Delightful things. We can talk. This has been a fascinating conversation to watch. It's interesting that the definition of impossible came into play. It truly has. It's interesting the difference of a relatively small perspective shift can make. Exactly. And what's great is, at the end of this, Glenn and I probably aren't going to change each other's minds. We're both going to and walk away, but we'll be danged happy to see each other, because that's how gentlemen and mature adults should behave. Tell me about this video. Okay, Jennifer Tapia. This is Nevermind the Furthermore. This is a morning show, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, where I encourage authors and other creatives to come together. We talk about our works. We talk about maintaining productivity, maintaining positivity. I promote new people. I share some ads. and we all try to build each other up. It was originally done by a gentleman by the name of Brian K. Morris. He hosted Nevermind the Furthermore on his network for, I want to say 8 years, 7 years. That's why I have the strange, slightly ghostly looking image as a logo over here. But we've actually been going live for 2 hours now. So that's what we're about. I do encourage you to do it. I want to run a brief ad, and I'm going to have to talk through it due to the nature of the ad. But let's try this again. We'll start with unmuted. The Rock and Roll Art Goddess is a wonderful lady named Kat Rothman who creates works that inspire and uplift, and they help teachers and students in the art fields. She's writing several books to the Adventures of the Rock and Roll Art Goddess. You can be an SEL superhero, and you can find out what that's actually about. And Miss Rothwell's mindfulness, she is doing things to make the world a better place. She's an art teacher, an author, an artist, and an adventurous, and one of my favorite people on the planet. So she has, if you go through the chats, you're going to see a vast number of her Instagrams, her YouTube channels. Please support her. Now, I've been going live for 2 hours. Thank you. Thank you, Glenn, for this lively discussion. Thank you, Joe, for almost moderating it. And always love. You know that. And thank you, everybody who participated. It may be shocking, but we can have subjects we are passionate about, and we can discuss even when we have differences. And, it made me think more on Glenn's perspective, and I do believe that we shouldn't lie to our children without letting them lose their sense of wonder. So if you've enjoyed this, please like, share, and subscribe. I will be back on the Historical Fencing Guild channel, talking swords and possibly the Pumpkin Invasion at 8 o'clock. We will have the next episode of Nevermind the Furthermore is Monday at this time. That'd be 10 a.m. Eastern. I think we're daylight time right now. And yes, see you on Bacon. Watch out. I know Bacon's gonna be spicy. So, and on Thursdays, I am the bro host to Luke Stone on Luke Stone Studios Nerd Bacon, where honestly me and Glenn get into all sorts of other discussions on this long-standing arc of it's almost a great philosophical debate on the nature of impossibility and talent. And I do find it educational, and it makes me look at my reasoning, and I hope Glenn looks at his, and we get to have these conversations. If you want to buy my books, you can find them at amazon.com/author/Nicholas Tockert. They include titles like The Big Stompy Robots Core Rulebook, and The Simple Sword and the Fighting Axe. Expect a whole lot more new stuff coming out very soon. The Simple Spear is already out and is delightful. Other than that, I will see you. Oh, I know, Glenn. I love you, Nick, and it would be impossible for you to get me to change my mind. I know. I see what you did there. Bravo. And just like that, I have to say, I got to try, though. I can't help it. It's the, maybe it's because I'm a product of the 80s and it was the last spurt of real optimism in a strange sort of way. But I love you, man. I really do. Nothing but love to everybody. And guys, I will see you all very soon. So what I want you to do is go out there, write something, draw something, create something. Because even if it's perfect, even if it's not perfect, you can fix it, you can edit it, you can tweak it, you can improve it. But you can't edit a blank page. With that, say, have a nice day, folks.